Hello students, in this video we are going to study the remaining part of chapter 4. The chapter name is Materials, Metals and Non-Metals. Class 8, Subject Science, NCERT. So before starting that, let me recall what we had learned in the previous videos of this chapter. So in the first we had seen some examples of metals and non-metals. So iron, copper, aluminium, nickel, zinc, gold, silver, etc. are metals. Other than these, sodium, potassium, magnesium and calcium are also metals. In the examples of non-metals, we had seen carbon, sulfur and phosphorus, etc. are solid non-metals. They are in solid state. Whereas oxygen, hydrogen, nitrogen, etc. are gaseous non-metals. Then after we had seen some physical properties of metals and non-metals. So in the physical properties of metals, first we had seen malleability. In that we had seen that metals can be hammered into thin sheets. That means we can convert them into thin sheets by beating them. Then after we had seen that metals are good conductors of heat and electricity. Metals can be drawn into thin wires. Metals produce ringing sound when beaten. That means they are sonorous. Metals have shiny surface, that means they have the luster. And metals are hard. So these are the some of the physical properties of metals. There is exception also with sodium, potassium and lead. These metals are soft that we can cut them with the use of knife also. Next we had seen physical properties of non-metals. In that we had seen that non-metals break into pieces on hammering them. Then after, these kind of materials are bad conductors of heat and electricity. There is also one exception is there with graphite. Graphite is non-metal, however it is the good conductor of electricity. Then next property we had seen that non-metals cannot be drawn into thin wires. That means we cannot make thin wires from the non-metal. Non-metals are non-sonorous. That means they are not producing ringing sound. And non-metals are soft and dull in appearance. So these are the some of the physical properties of non-metals. Then after we had seen chemical properties of metals and non-metals. In that we had seen reaction with oxygen. So metal react with oxygen to form metallic oxide, which are basic in nature. And in non-metals we had seen non-metals react with oxygen to form non-metallic oxides, which are acidic in nature. So up to this we had seen. Now in this video we will see the remaining chemical properties of metals and non-metals. So now let me start with reaction with water. So now let us see how metals and non-metals react with water. So before this, let me check one fact that sodium metal is very reactive and it reacts vigorously with oxygen and water. Vigorously, that means strongly and fastly. Sodium reacts strongly with oxygen and water, and during this process a lot of heat is generated in this reaction and it is therefore stored in kerosene. Sodium is very reactive, or it reacts fastly with oxygen and water, so we cannot store it in water and we cannot put it in open area or in atmosphere as it is react with air and water fastly. So because of this, and during this process the lots of amount of heat is generated, so that's why we are storing this sodium into kerosene or in oil. So now let me see this next activity in which we will see the reaction of sodium with water. This activity you should not have to try at your home. This should be demonstrated by the teacher only. So here it is, precaution is given to you to be demonstrated by the teacher. You should not have to try this activity at your home, and during this demonstration also special care should be taken that the size of the sodium metal piece is roughly the size of a wheat grain. That means during this activity we have to keep, or we have to take the sodium metal of smaller size or smaller piece of the sodium metal, and it should be held with the pair of tongs. That means we do not have to directly hold this metal. To put or to hold this metal we have to use the tongs. So in this activity we will take a beaker or a glass tumbler of around size of 250 milliliter. Then after we have to fill that beaker half with the water, and now carefully cut a small piece of sodium metal, dry it using filter paper and wrap it in a small piece of cotton. First we have to take a beaker or a glass tumbler of around size of 250 milliliter. Then after we have to fill that tumbler half with the water, and then we have to cut this piece of sodium metal, and as earlier we had seen, this sodium metal is soft that we can cut it with the knife also. So we have to cut this small piece of sodium metal, and then after we have to dry that piece with the use of filter paper, and then after we have to cover that piece with the help of cotton. And then after put this sodium piece wrapped into cotton into the beaker, and then after we have to observe carefully what happens, and during this observation you have to stay away from the beaker, and when the reaction stops you can touch the beaker. So you have to observe what do you feel, and has the beaker become hot, and taste the solution with red and blue litmus paper. Is the solution acidic or basic? Here in the figure it is shown to you the reaction of sodium with water. When we will put this piece of sodium metal into water, the lots of amount of heat will produce, and we can see the fire in this glass in this figure. And after some time if we will touch this glass we will feel hot, or we will feel high temperature of the beaker. So now let we see this activity. So in the physical property we had seen that metals are hard, but some metals are exception that they are soft, that even we can cut them with the knife. So those kind of metals are lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium and francium. This first one is lithium. This is soft that we can cut it with the knife, and when it put in the air in open it get rusted. So you can see here. Next is this one is sodium. So it is also soft and it is stored in the oil or in kerosene, and when we cut it, after some time we will find the metallic rust on this metal. The next is potassium. This is also soft that we can cut it with the knife, and it quickly react with the air. Now we will see the reaction of this metal in water. So first we will see lithium. So when we put this lithium in water, the hydrogen gas we can see that is released, and we will find the solution hot. Next is this one is sodium. So again same kind of processes happen with this, and hydrogen gas is released. And if we will put the bigger piece of sodium, then even we will find the fire. This one is this equation for this process. As we can see, hydrogen gas is released and Na and OH form the NaOH, sodium hydroxide. Next is with potassium. So here you can see the fire. Next, rubidium. Here also fire is or hydrogen gas is released and it reacts with the water rapidly. The same with the cesium and francium. The fire is there and hydrogen gas is released. So, as in the activity, we had seen that some of these metals react vigorously with water. So, you should not have to try this activity at your home. And in the activity, we had also seen that sodium metal reacts vigorously with water and it catches fire. And the beaker becomes hot during this reaction. And this solution turns red litmus paper into blue. The red litmus paper turns into blue, but there is the no effect on the blue litmus paper. And these sodium metals react with water and it produces, we can say that it turns red litmus paper into blue, so that we can say that it produces basic solution. So you observe that sodium reacts vigorously with water and some other metals do not do so. For example, iron reacts with water slowly. In the rusting process of iron, we have seen that the iron reacts slowly with water. So this is the example. Generally, non-metals do not react with water, though they may be very reactive in air. They are fastly react with air, and such non-metals are stored in water. To avoid the contact with air, this kind of non-metals are stored in the water. For example is given here, that is of phosphorus. Phosphorus is a very reactive non-metal and it catches fire if it exposed in the air. If we are putting this phosphorus into the air, then it catches fire as it reacts fastly with the air. And to prevent the contact of phosphorus with atmospheric oxygen, it is stored in water. To avoid the contact of phosphorus and air or oxygen, we are storing this phosphorus into water. So this is the reaction of metals and non-metals with water. Now next is reaction with acids. So now let us see how metals and non-metals behave with acids. So for that, next activity is given here. So let me see this activity 4.6. Before that, one warning is given here. Keep the mouth of the test tube away from your face and use test tube holder to hold the test tube, as we are handling or we are using the acids in this process. So you have to be careful, and the mouth of the test tube, you have to stay away from the mouth of the test tube, and to hold the test tube you have to use test tube holder. So now in this activity, take samples of metals and non-metals listed in table 4.5 in separate test tubes and label them as A, B, C, D, E and F, A to F. The different name of metals and non-metals are given to you in the next table, that is here. In the metals, we had taken magnesium. For that, we are using magnesium ribbon. Aluminium, so for that we are using aluminium foil. Then after, iron filling. Copper, in that you can use the peeled flexible wire. That means after removing the cover of the wire, you can use this copper wire. Charcoal powder and sulfur powder. So these are the metals and non-metals we are taking for this activity. First four, that is magnesium, aluminium, iron and copper, these are the metals, and last two, that is charcoal and sulfur, these are the non-metals. Now after that, with the help of a dropper, you have to add 5 ml of dilute hydrochloric acid to each test tube one by one. After adding this material into the test tube, you have to add the 5 ml of dilute hydrochloric acid to each test tube one by one. Dilute hydrochloric acid. Hydrochloric is a kind of acid, and dilute, that means we are taking the solution of this hydrochloric acid and water in which the amount of hydrochloric acid is very less, or concentration of this hydrochloric acid is less in water. So we are adding the solution of this solution 5 ml into each test tube. Now observe the reaction carefully, and if no reaction occurs in the cold solution, then warm the test tube gently. Then after we have to heat the test tube. Then bring a burning matchstick near the mouth of the each test tube. And repeat the same activity with the using dilute sulfuric acid instead of the dilute hydrochloric acid, and record your observation in table 4.5. Now instead of the hydrochloric acid we have to use dilute sulfuric acid, the solution of sulfuric acid with water. So and then after we have to observe the process or reaction, and then after we have to record our observation in this table. Here two conditions are given to you, that is with room temperature and after heating them or in the warm condition. With the reaction with hydrochloric acid, dilute hydrochloric acid, and reaction with dilute sulfuric acid. So now let me see this activity. Take 4 different metals into 4 different test tubes, that is magnesium, iron, aluminium and copper. Now name them A, B, C and D. Now add 5 drops of dilute hydrochloric acid or dilute sulfuric acid and observe the reaction. And then after you have to give the heat with the help of Bunsen burner to all the test tube, and you will find that hydrogen gas is released. To find this, you can check with the matchstick. With burning matchstick, if you bring this near the test tube, it will put off. So from this activity we had to answer these questions. First is there a difference in the way metals and non-metals react with acids? The next question is, what could the pop sound in some cases be due to when a burning matchstick is brought near the mouth of the test tube? That means in the first we have to find, is there any difference between the metals and non-metals that are reacting with acids, and what the pop sound indicates when we are bringing the burning matchstick near to the mouth of the test tube. So first let me see the observation table. So this is the observation table. In the first or A test tube we had put the magnesium ribbon or magnesium. So this magnesium reacts to liberate, or you can say to release hydrogen gas, and it reacts fastly or rapidly with dilute hydrochloric acid. Same with this dilute sulfuric acid, it reacts to liberate or to release the hydrogen gas, and it reacts rapidly or fastly. Next metal is aluminium. In that we have taken aluminium foil. So it reacts to liberate or to release hydrogen gas. Again it reacts fastly or rapidly with dilute hydrochloric acid, and with the dilute sulfuric acid it reacts to liberate hydrogen gas and it reacts fastly or rapidly. Next is iron filling, or the small powder or the particles of the iron. So it reacts to liberate hydrogen gas. It also reacts fastly or rapidly with hydrochloric acid, and in the case of sulfuric acid the process is also same. It reacts to liberate hydrogen gas and it reacts rapidly or faster. Next we had taken metal, that is copper, or in that we had taken peeled flexible wire. So in the case of dilute hydrochloric acid, it does not react with dilute hydrochloric acid, so no reaction take place with this copper. And in the case of dilute sulfuric acid, the copper is also not react with this dilute sulfuric acid, so here no reaction is written. But if we will take the concentrated sulfuric acid, that means the solution of sulfuric acid with water in concentrated amount, that means more amount of sulfuric acid, then that sulfuric acid will process or will react with copper, or copper will react with the concentrated sulfuric acid, and at that time the hydrogen gas will release, and with the concentrated sulfuric acid copper will react faster or rapidly. So here we have to write about the dilute sulfuric acid. So here no reaction we had written. Next, we had taken non-metal, that is charcoal, or you can say carbon powder. So it does not react with the dilute hydrochloric acid, neither with the dilute sulfuric acid. And at the last we had taken sulfur powder. So again it does not react with the dilute hydrochloric acid and also does not react with the dilute sulfuric acid. So this is the observation table for the different metals and non-metals, that is reaction of this kind of materials with the acid. And in the acid we had taken dilute hydrochloric acid and dilute sulfuric acid. So from the table you must have found that non-metals generally do not react with acids, that is charcoal powder and sulfur powder, but the metals react with acids and produce hydrogen gas that burns with a pop sound. And when we bring this burning matchstick near this mouth of the test tube, it will put off because of this hydrogen gas. So we can check the presence of hydrogen gas. And you must notice that copper does not react with dilute hydrochloric acid and even on heating, but it reacts with sulfuric acid. That means we had already seen that if we are taking the concentrated sulfuric acid, then copper will react with this concentrated sulfuric acid. So this is the reaction of metals and non-metals with the acids. Now next topic is reaction of these metals and non-metals with bases. So for that, next activity is given to you, that is activity 4.7. So let me check this activity. For that, this activity to be demonstrated by the teacher only, and during this activity the preparation of sodium hydroxide solution, care should be taken that pellets of these sodium hydroxides are handled with the plastic spatula. Pellets, that means small bowls of this sodium hydroxide, or you can say NaOH, should be handled with the plastic spatula. So now let me start this activity. For this activity we have to prepare a fresh solution of sodium hydroxide in the test tube by dissolving 3 to 4 pellets of this sodium hydroxide in the 5 milliliter of water. First we have to put this 3 to 4 pellets of sodium hydroxide into the test tube. Then after we have to add 5 milliliter of water in that test tube. Now drop a piece of aluminum foil into the test tube and bring a burning matchstick near the mouth of the test tube and observe carefully. After preparing the solution of sodium hydroxide, we have to add the piece of aluminum foil in the test tube, and then after we have to bring the burning matchstick near the mouth of the test tube, and we have to observe what happen or what reaction will happen. So now let me see this activity. So for this activity, prepare a fresh solution of sodium hydroxide. For that, add 3 to 4 pellets of sodium hydroxide into 5 ml of water, and then after add the aluminum foil and observe the reaction. You can see the hydrogen gas is released, and when you bring this burning matchstick near the test tube, you will see that the matchstick is extinguished with a pop sound that represents the presence of hydrogen gas. That means hydrogen gas is released during this process. So from the activity, now we have to answer that what does a pop sound indicate. So we can say that, or we had observed from the activity, that the burning matchstick extinguished with a pop sound, and during this reaction hydrogen gas is produced, or that indicates the presence of hydrogen gas. So as before, the pop sound indicates the presence of hydrogen gas. So that's why we can say that metals react with sodium hydroxide to produce hydrogen gas. And in this process we will get sodium aluminate and hydrogen gas. And hydrogen gas burns like a pop sound. And the reaction of non-metals with the bases. So these reactions of non-metals with bases are complex. So in this video we had seen this reaction of metals and non-metals with water, acid and bases. So till now in this chapter, what we had seen, let me recall quickly. So in the starting we had seen some of the examples of metals and non-metals. In that we had seen iron, copper, aluminium, nickel, zinc, gold, silver, etc. are the examples of metals. Other than this, sodium, potassium, magnesium and calcium are also metals. In the examples of non-metals, we had seen carbon, sulfur and phosphorus. These are the non-metals in the solid state. And in the gaseous states, or the example of the non-metals in the gaseous state, we had seen hydrogen, nitrogen and oxygen. These are also non-metals in gaseous state. Then after we had seen physical properties of metals and non-metals. In that first we had seen physical properties of metal, in that malleability. So the metals can be hammered into thin sheets. They are also good conductors of heat and electricity. Then in the ductility we had seen that metals can be drawn into thin wires. Metals are sonorous, that means they produce ringing sound when they beaten. Then we had seen metals have shiny surface and metals are hard. In that some exceptions are also there, that we had already seen, that sodium, potassium, etc. Then after we had seen the physical properties of non-metals. In that we had seen non-metals break into pieces on hammering. Then we had seen that non-metals are bad conductors of heat and electricity. One exception is also there, that is with graphite. Then we had seen non-metals cannot be drawn into thin wires. Non-metals are non-sonorous and they are soft and dull in appearance. So these are the physical properties of non-metals. Then after we had seen chemical properties of metals and non-metals. In that first we had seen with the reaction with the oxygen. So metals react with oxygen to form metallic oxides, which are basic in nature. And non-metals, they react with oxygen to form non-metallic oxides, which are acidic in nature. And in this video we had seen the reaction of metals and non-metals with water, acid and bases. So in that we had seen that metals react with water slowly. And we had also seen some exceptions, that is with sodium. Then after we had also seen with potassium, rubidium, etc. or lithium. They are reacting with water fastly or rapidly. So that's why we are storing sodium, metals like sodium, into kerosene or in the oil. In the non-metals we had seen that non-metals generally do not react with water. Then after we had seen that metals react with acid to liberate hydrogen gas or to release hydrogen gas, and during this process hydrogen is released with pop sound. In that one exception we had already also seen that copper is a metal, however it does not react with dilute hydrochloric acid. In the non-metals we had seen that generally non-metals do not react with acid. And in between that we had also seen that phosphorus reacts with air, and it reacts rapidly or vigorously, and it catches fire if it exposed to the air. So that's why we are storing, or phosphorus is stored in water to avoid the contact with air. Then after, in the reaction with bases, we had seen that metals react with base to produce hydrogen gas, same as the reaction with acids. And the chemical reaction of bases with non-metals are complexes. So these are the things we had seen in this up to this video in this chapter. In the next video we will see displacement reaction, or you can say replacement reactions, or single replacement or single displacement reaction. These all are the one term, and then after we will see the uses of metals and non-metals. Thank you.